Thank you all for joining us this afternoon for what I think is an important occasion in the life of our city. I want to first of all start by recognizing the representatives from our various Chamber of Commerces from throughout Colorado who are here to join us today. We're going to have some come up a little later on, but let me acknowledge the presence of Lee Gash Maxey, President of the Black Chamber of Commerce, Fran Campbell, President of the Asian Chamber of Commerce, Patrick Walton, Board Member of the Asian Chamber of Commerce and Manager of Strategic Projects and Policy for the Department for the Division of Economic Development for here, an opportunity for the City of Denver. AJ Shaikh, Chairman of the LGBT Chamber of Commerce and VP, Senior SBA Product Specialist at Huntington National Bank. We also are joined by Claudine Lacasio, President of the Japanese or Japan America Society of Colorado. Melinda Reese, WTS President and President of Denver Office Lead for Apex Design, and Renal Shahida, WTS Treasurer and Transportation Engineer at Atkins. We want to, did anyone we got Japan America Society of Colorado joining us as well. We want to thank them along with Claudine Lacasio. I'm honored to be joined by Phil Washington, the CEO of Denver International Airport today, to underscore our commitment, Denver's commitment to equity. Now, you've heard us say many times, equity is the foundation of all we do here to serve our residents, especially at this pivotal time in our economic recovery. I also shared, as part of our long-term recovery plan, that infrastructure will play a critical role in creating and sustaining jobs for our residents in this region. And I believe that, have believed it for many years now, and will believe it, continue to believe it in the foreseeable future. True equity requires action. Action at the level, action to level the playing field and ensure that opportunity is available and accessible to everyone, in particular, historically marginalized communities. That is why I am committing today to the Equity in Infrastructure project. I'm going to let Phil, our CEO, fill you in on the details in a moment. But this is a commitment that agencies make in the infrastructure space to increase minority prime and joint venture contracts. This is how we can work to correct generations of underinvestment that have resulted in diminished opportunities for economic growth in low-income communities and communities of color. That is why Denver is committed to setting the goal of delivering 40% of the overall benefits of federal investments to these communities. And I want to challenge all of our regional partners and like agencies in energy, water, and housing who will be receiving these federal funds to do the same. Join us in signing the pledge and building a more affordable, sustainable, and an equitable future. Now I'm going to turn it over to Phil Washington to talk more specifically about this pledge.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you for having the chance to speak about equity in infrastructure. I think everyone in the room understands the importance of infrastructure. It's often taken for granted, as we know, until it doesn't work, and then it's not taken for granted. Infrastructure has been talked about with greater frequency. The passage of the historic $1.2 trillion bipartisan Infrastructure and Jobs Act was really historic. You may have heard President Biden's commitment to advance environmental justice and spur economic opportunity for underserved communities. In his first couple of weeks, the president, he signed something called Executive Order 13985. It formalized that commitment that he's often underscored in terms of something called the Justice 40 Initiative. Now, through this Justice 40 Initiative, the administration has promised to deliver at least 40% of the overall benefits from federal investments in climate and clean energy and transportation infrastructure to underserved communities. To answer the president's call, a group of 5 of the country's largest infrastructure agencies met with notable senior level federal officials back in December, and the mayor attended that from the very beginning and supported the effort from the beginning. And we discussed actions we would take to increase the number, the size, the scope of prime and joint venture contracts for historically underutilized businesses, MBEs, SBEs, and small minority businesses. From those discussions, we formed the Equity in Infrastructure Project. The 5 agencies, the first 5 movers, and since we are in the NBA playoffs, I'll say the starting 5.
Starting 5.
The starting 5 included agencies from various modes. For aviation, Denver International Airport. For transit, the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, or SEPTA, in Philadelphia. And also the Chicago Transit Authority in Chicago, Illinois, were the 2 transit agencies. We wanted a port, and so we have the Port of Long Beach that have committed to this pledge. And then finally, water, the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, which happens to be the largest water district in this country. With the passage of the bipartisan infrastructure bill, those agencies involved expressed their commitment to partner with the federal government to support the creation and to look to increase generational wealth for diverse businesses and workers, especially those in underserved communities. I am co-chairing this effort with a good friend, Mr. John Pocari, the former U.S. Deputy Secretary of Transportation. And one of the first steps was for us to sign the pledge, which we're going to do today for Denver International Airport and hopefully other agencies within the city. So this Equity and Infrastructure project is a commitment that agencies are making, will make, to increase minority prime. Subcontracting is one thing, but what we're talking about is increasing prime contracts and having traditional primes sub to you. And this is why this is a revolutionary effort. So in this way, we can work to correct for the underinvestment that has resulted in diminished opportunities for economic growth in low-income communities and communities of color. So in essence, this project jumpstarts the president's call to action because it enlists the agencies that receive infrastructure dollars and encourages them to pledge support for underutilized businesses. So most meaningful infrastructure projects that take years of planning and aren't shovel-ready. Through this Equity and Infrastructure project, we can support Justice 40 and do the right thing now for historically underutilized businesses. I want to highlight an opportunity in the Infrastructure Act competitive grants, where the Biden administration has stated that environment and economic justice will be at the center of all that they do. And we are answering that call, and we expect that equity-driven proposals that benefit disinvested communities will likely be given first priority. So participating in the Equity and Infrastructure project may also help agencies fare better in competitive grants. This new $1.2 trillion public investment is critical after years of neglect and disinvestment in underserved communities, but we really want to ensure prosperity for all in the future. If we want to do that, we must pay attention to businesses and communities who have been denied these resources and funding in the past. This is not just about meeting a goal. We are asking these agencies that commit to the pledge to double the amount of prime contracts that they award between now and 2026. So Mayor Hancock, I can't tell you how proud I am to witness, your pledge to join and for Denver International Airport to join, and we look forward to other agencies joining as well.
Thank you, Phil. Let me just say this, the reason why this is so critical across the country. We know the infrastructure bill that was just signed by the president. It's a $1.2 trillion deal. $1.2 trillion deal. This is an opportunity we've never seen before in our lifetime and in this country in order to create new opportunities of wealth and hopefully generational opportunities at business ownership. So this is huge. I'm not going to read the pledge to you because I think Phil did a beautiful job of going through the particulars of it. But what we're doing today is basically starting from a baseline of current actions and initiatives. By December of 2025, we will work to increase the number, size, and percentage of historically underutilized businesses growing to primes, joint ventures, or equity participants. And we are working with what has been known as hubs or historically underutilized businesses, Phil pointed out. They include the firms that are DBEs, disadvantaged businesses, minority and women-owned business enterprises, are better known as MWBEs. You often hear us say that, small business enterprises, and can include any other business classification used locally in the United States intended to boost the participation of otherwise underutilized firms, which can vary from state to state. And with that, it's really my honor to join you, my friend, in signing this important pledge. I'll ask the chambers and partners who've come forward to join us, come join us and be a part of this photo op behind us as we make this signing, or we do this signing. Come on. Give them a chance to make it here. Thank you all for joining us. Join us right behind here so we have you in the photo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hurry up. All right. Got one more. Congratulations, man. Congratulations, man. Yes, absolutely. Question and answers from the members of the media? Thank you all.
Question at 531.
Yes.
Question is for both of you. What is currently being done to address the cart theft?
We can take that offline. Yeah, we'll get with you after this one. Yeah. Any questions related to the initiative we just signed? No? Then we were thorough. Yes, sir.
Channel 7, did you have any businesses that come to mind that you'd like to talk about that you would like to highlight that you hope to see at the airport?
Well, I'll answer generally, and Phil may want to dig in a little deeper. Denver has a pretty progressive effort to partner with MWBEs and DBEs all over the city. In every project we have stated goals. You heard me read the pledge, which talks about the baseline, where we are now. Today you might find in some of our infrastructure projects targeted goals of 18 to 20, 25%. So we're going to start there and grow. The goal, though, and I think this is where Phil's passion really lied when he has engaged me on this issue, how we move those firms that are typically just subbing to prime. And I think that's the beauty of this project, that in this $1.2 trillion effort around the nation, we're going to create a new generation of businesses out of these historically underutilized communities. an opportunity to create wealth. And there may be some at the airport that you see, and he's doing some of this, by the way, right now at the airport.
Yeah, and we are. So we are building on an already successful program. We have included equity in the evaluation criteria and how we select businesses, which is a really big deal, with significant weight to that equity metric. We are also looking and working with the federal government and asking them to do some things that benefit small businesses, like a national certification database. So small businesses that are looking to do federal work don't have to run around the country to get certified in every state. How about a national certification database where they can work anywhere? We are also looking at ways and asking the federal government to increase the personal net worth for small business owners. It's far too low. And so to be able to, the executive order talks about increasing generational wealth, but it keeps the personal net worth the same. It doesn't make sense. And so we are asking for assistance, and we're getting that assistance from the federal government consistent with the president's executive order.
Any other questions? All right, thank you all. We'll let Phil go on the side and answer your question for you.
All right.
Thank y'all for being here. What's up, Ian?